Welcome back to ciLiving. If you find yourself keeping scraps of fabric from past projects or holding on to worn out t-shirts, we have the perfect craft for you. Lauren Chambers from the Urbana Free Library is here to teach you this fun craft. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so I see we have a ton of different fabrics.
Yes.
We also have string, glue, scissors. What are we making today?
So we are actually going to be making these. These are fabric collages using slow stitching.
Okay.
Which is different kinds of stitching types. So I've got two different kind of finished products here, but we're going to get it started up to the point where you would do the stitching.
Would do the sewing. Okay,
Yeah.
So what do we do?
So the first part, you're going to want to pick a base fabric.
Okay.
These kinds of things work really well because they have a little texture to them, which helps the rest of the fabric kind of stay in place.
Okay.
So I would suggest maybe grabbing one of these, and you can do these any kind of sizes that you want. I just brought some things that are smaller.
Yeah, I feel like you could use this for either like a junk journal or something like that to make into pockets maybe?
Oh, yes, you definitely could do that. You could even make some of these larger, frame it, put it on a wall as just an art piece too.
Oh, yeah.
But it's great ways to use this different bits of scrap fabric that you might have. So now we get into the creative part.
Okay.
Which is you've got your backing, and I've got one kind of
base.
pre-started.
Okay.
And then you pick out what fabric you want, and you start setting up your design, which is the hardest part.
I was going to say it is because I had come over here. We have about 2.5 minutes-ish for the commercial breaks, and I started picking fabrics, but I feel like I still have all of this space here, so I need to look and see what colors are going to go well, what maybe patterns I want. And I like on this one, this example, you actually, it looks like, have taken the design from the fabric and cut the flowers specifically out. And I feel like you could also edge it maybe with either stitching or with puffy paint.
Oh, yeah. You could do lots of different things. You could cut out bits of a fabric design. You could cut different shapes into a piece of fabric and put them on there. It's really whatever you have time to do that you want to do.
And you even mentioned before we started that you could potentially also turn this into a postcard.
Yeah, you could. If you'd get the side, you could almost just then attach this to the back of the postcard. And then this is, so you're making kind of a fancy postcard. Don't ask me if you can actually send it to the mail, because I would have to double check on that.
Right.
But if you wanted to make something that looked fancier, had a different kind of backing on it,
or even a card for someone as a gift or something like that.
You could make your own.
Give it as a gift. All right, so then what do we do? Once we've picked our fabric and we've cut out some designs, then what?
So then, this is where I've got things in different stages. You can either use slow stitching to kind of quickly stitch things in place to hold them down, or what we're going to do today, because it's faster right now, is you can use glue. So I did fabric glue. This is quick and dirty. This is not very precise on this. And you can kind of see I've glued my different pieces in place. And then I would pick out my stitches and I would go back through and actually stitch them down.
And when you say slow stitching, what does that mean? Just by hand versus in a sewing machine? Or what does that mean?
It is that. It's also a slightly different kind of stitching. There's some different techniques.
Okay.
So it's really hard to see on this one. Let me see if I can hold this one up. There are actually different kinds of stitches that are done in this one.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So it's different. There's different designs you can do. There's a little cross stitch pattern here.
Oh, like little X's and little kind of back and forth as well as back stitching.
Yeah, this has got some back and forth on the bottom there. So you can also use the stitching and the thread you do. So when you get this part done, then you pick your thread.
Okay.
And you pick, probably at least 3 colors. You want something that is a good comparison, a contrast, a complement, and then you have to decide how you want to have it stitched. So what designs you want to use, what colors do you want where, which is why for this segment, we're just going to get through part of it and we'll get through the design.
Right, exactly, the designing elements. So
you can also use ribbon. So
I was going to say, I noticed some ribbon there.
Yeah, so to finish this off, I was thinking I'd add some gold ribbon. And then I'd also trim the sides. So this piece is pre-trimmed. So if I wanted it square, I would go around and I'd cut off the edges where they're not actually lining up or they're a little overlapped, or if I just wanted to clean up some of them.
And I really like on this that you can kind of be creative and you can try different things. It's kind of like, you called it a fabric collage. It is kind of like collage making in that you can just throw everything on the table and then figure out, mix and match, and then before you start gluing, figure out what's gonna look the best. I'm about, I would say, halfway through. I've started my design. I think I'm gonna do something with this ribbon here before I get to the actual sewing part. Well, Lauren, thank you so much for being here and showing us all of this. You have an event coming up that incorporates all of this, right?
Yes, so we do a monthly craft happy hour for adults, and our one that is going to the first Wednesday of every month from 6 to 7, and our one in August is actually going to be this activity, and we're partnering with the Idea Store, so they are going to have people there to help. So if you don't know how to stitch yourself, there will be there to help and work with people on it. And they are actually the ones who, all of this fabric that I brought out today are things that they gave me from the Idea Store so we could use them for this.
And they're a great resource because ultimately they're a great place to get just exactly what you need instead of having to buy a large amount and then pare it down.
You can get just squares and the colors you want, and it's always a little different.
Exactly what you need. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me out.